those hills.
There's a
And what's that little winding street
oh
called?
Lombard Street. It's the windy
Oh,
one.
Lombard
Yeah.
Street.
Oh, it's a mess, But the hills, they're good. They're good for your ass because it helps it
Oh,
stay pert. It's a
now,
wonderful town.
now, have you ever gotten dragged in your car in a convertible and driven down Lombard Street?
Well, I don't believe in convertibles, therefore they don't exist. No, I'm kidding. So have I gone down Lombard in? I've been down Lombard in drag. I did a photo shoot on Lombard years ago, and I felt very, Audrey Hepburn in Roman Holiday on the back of a Vespa, which was terrifying because
No.
it was a
So,
spectacle.
so what are you doing now for Christmas? I
Well,
know you're performing at Feinstein's tonight.
yes. Oh, no, Feinstein's next weekend, the 17th and
Oh,
18th.
next
My
weekend.
holiday
Okay.
spectacular, now in its fourth to 15th tinsel coated year. Tonight I'm doing a little show called Misfit Cabaret with Kat Robichaux, who was on a little show called The Voice, and I'm just singing one number. It's an in and out kind of gig at the Alcazar Theatre. It should be fun, and the holiday show. It's one of my favorites. I just love doing it because I love the way that you Americans celebrate the Christmas. The holiday season. When I was a little girl growing up in Moscow, not that I was ever little. But I was young
Oh,
once, long, long ago. We didn't
oh,
celebrate the way you do here. There were no Christmas tree, trim and decoration by at Tiffany's, no dreidels made of the clay. Yet the average Soviet child, for the Christmas, they might get, I don't know, some candy, a coat, maybe some boots for working in the bottle factory after school. So I
oh,
love to celebrate here. Now, of course, I'm actually Jewish. Yeah, I converted to Judaism.
oh,
I did, yes. I was friends with Sammy Davis Jr. Do you know who Sammy Davis was? Well, Sammy reminded me a lot of my late husband. They were both 5'3" and only had one eye. That's where the similarities ended. But Sammy told me about a religion where you have a cocktail hour and then 4 glasses of wine before dinner. Sign me up.
oh,
And that's how I converted to Judaism. One of God's chosen
oh.
people.
So I know that you're in an are you in an open relationship with Alata? Is that your partner's
Yeah,
name?
no. Alana is one of my dearest friends. She's a burlesque dancer, Alata Boutet, and she and
Oh,
I do
okay.
have yes. She and I do have a drag daughter who was on RuPaul's Drag Race, Honey Mahogany, in season 2 or something.
Oh,
So we have a good drag children together, I suppose.
So you were for Christmas you were pulling Oliver Twist, were you?
And Oliver Twist.
Some more, please. Give me some more. You say you only had boots and everything
Oh
for
no,
Christmas.
no, I was not your average Soviet child. No, my mother was Ekaterina Stolenskaya, prima ballerina for the Bolshov, considered by many to be one of the most beautiful and interesting women of her generation. Apparently, the apple doesn't roll very far from the bushel. Well, men, they threw themselves at Mama. Artists, party members, leaders of industry. And it wasn't long
Mhm.
before my mother became the final mistress of Joseph Stalin. The That Joseph Stalin. I know, the ruthless dictator responsible for the deaths of millions of my comrades. But, to a 3-year-old, he didn't seem so bad. He was basically like a Russian Santa. A uniform, facial hair, and a book with the names and deeds of every Russian citizen. Except the elves didn't get that book. The KGB did. Basically the same.
Oh, okay. So in Russia, they really don't believe in a Santa Claus coming down the chimney.
Well, I don't know. I left Russia when I was so young, but no, I don't think so. You're right. It's not as big a holiday in the in Russia as it is here. Here it's just a joyous time of year, and
Yes.
I love it. I love it. I even put
Now,
on my sweater for Christmas.
mhm,
There's a
it's
cat.
cute. It's very
Thank
cute.
you.
I have mine on. It says naughty and nice.
Oh, well, you
So
are naughty and nice. That's what I hear, darling.
I'm
Mine
something else. And
there's a fire on this boob and a cat wearing a coat on this boob because cats wearing coats. That makes sense.
Oh, yes, hello. Now, what do you think, what are some of the best moments for you for
Oh,
Christmas and some of the worst times? Because people have the worst time during the holidays
oh, they
with
do.
family and
Oh,
friends.
it's
And
I know it's hard to believe, but there are some who do not find this the happiest season of all. No, for some people it's very stressful. For instance,
mhm,
I hate buying gifts. I
mhm.
say to people, I say, darling, what would you like for the Christmas? And they're like, oh, I don't know. I'm sure you'll think of something. If you don't know what you want, how the hell am I supposed to know? You get
Mhm.
nothing. No, I mean, I'll still get them something. And we're all guilty of it. I mean, and that's how you end up with useless gifts like letter openers or milk frothers, or in my case, an entire drawer of iTunes gift cards. Now, I have been all over the world and I have never found an iTunes store where I could go in and buy some CDs. I mean, is that too much to ask? I don't understand.
Now, what do you think what do you think of drag today?
Well, it's funny. When I first started performing here in San Francisco, there were, I think there was one drag show in the Castro and a couple down in Soma, and it was gritty. And it was artistic and interesting. And the average drag queen only lasts about, I don't know, 3 years. That's what I say.
Mhm.
Some little gay wisp of a thingy comes in, and they're like, oh, I'll be fancy, and you get all the best, booze and boys and other things. And it's changed. It's changed. There's so much more acceptance towards drag. I think
Mhm.
that drag race show has definitely opened the world up to drag in all its forms. Of course,
Mhm.
there is a certain understanding that drag should be one thing or another thing, but I've never believed
Mhm.
that. I think drag is whatever you feel like doing, darling. You be yourself, because if you are not yourself, who else will be?
Mhm. Now, how long have you lived in San Francisco?
Oh, well, I've been performing here for nearly 20 years.
Oh
I
my God.
know. It's a
So,
long time.
well, you know what they say. They say San Francisco has the most, I mean, in the world, San Francisco has the most LGBT rich millionaires.
Well, I mean, it's a very expensive place to live, and it's very small. It's only 7 miles by 7 miles large. And yes, there are a lot of very wealthy people. That's because people make money in the Valley of Silicon. And, and,
Oh.
and, and, and yes, and then they choose to live in San Francisco. And
Mhm.
it's wonderful. I mean, it does mean that you can have a nice patron here or there. But it is hard, getting started out as a young person. It's a very expensive thing to go into, the drag, or so I hear. And I feel that in San Francisco it's even harder because of the extreme cost that it takes to live in our fair city by the sea. Luckily, my apartment is rent control, so they're going to have to take me out of here heels first.
Oh. So now I haven't been to in San Francisco, like I said, in many years, but the most exciting part of San Francisco I found was Fisherman's Wharf.
Oh, yes. I haven't been to the wharf, and Fisherman's Wharf is one of those places where everyone goes when they come to San Francisco. But people who live in San Francisco, we don't go there very often because it's hard to get there. I mean, it's far away, and there are sea lions, seals that hang out there, and I don't want to get close to a seal.
Now,
No, I
now,
don't.
what do you think? Do you